Okay, video number 4 is a price discriminating monopoly. Now, we said before that marginal revenue and demand were not equal because monopolies can't price discriminate. Now, let's say in a wild world that they are allowed to price discriminate, what would happen? Well, first, in order to price discriminate, a couple things have to be true. First, they have to have monopoly power, meaning that they have complete control over an entire industry. Second, they need to find a strategy to segment the market. How do I ensure that one person pays a higher price than somebody else? How do I do that? And then finally, they have to ensure that there's no ability for there to be a resale of the products that they're using, right? So the problem with a price discriminating monopoly is that there's no consumer surplus. Every consumer, if this is able to happen, pays the maximum price necessary or the maximum price they're willing to pay. So let's check it out over here on this little chart, show you price discriminating monopoly. Right? So let's say $11 we produce 0, just like before. But now in order to produce more, we have to lower the price, so we lower it to $10. That first person is willing to pay $10, and that's what they pay. So my total revenue is 10, my marginal revenue is 10. So we're starting off at the same place. Then I go on to the next one. To attract the second user, I lower the price again, so I go to $9. The second person is willing to pay 9. First person is willing to pay 10. So first person pays 10, second person pays 9. My total revenue is 19, which means my marginal revenue is going from 10 to 19. My marginal revenue is 9, exactly the same as my demand curve. Let's try the next one. We go to 8, right? In order to track the third one, I lower the price to $8. Now, the first person was willing to pay 10, so they pay 10. Second person willing to pay 9, so they pay 9. Third person willing to pay 8, so they pay 8. All of that together gets us 27, not 24 if I charge everybody the same price. And so my marginal revenue goes from 19 to 27, or 8, which again is the same. In other words, when this happens, our marginal revenue and demand become the exact same curve. That's the first really important thing. We no longer have marginal revenue going down at a greater rate because firms can price discriminate. Right? And that should make logical sense. If the reason marginal revenue and demand are different is because firms can't price discriminate, then when they can, that means marginal revenue and demand will be the same. Okay, so that part's set. Now, what happens when this occurs? First, there's no consumer surplus. We just talked about that. Consumer surplus is the difference between what people are willing to pay and what they pay, right? If there's a difference there, then they have consumer surplus. But because the price that they pay is what they're willing to pay, there's no difference, so there's no consumer surplus. There's no set price. Even though I'll produce over here where MR equals MC, that's the same, always is. I'm not going to have a set price here. Everybody pays a different price. Okay, so there's no set price. And then finally, this huge box right here, the big old green guy is all the profits. Profits are going to rise, and this is why firms are incentivized to discriminate, even though they're not allowed to. The final fun part of this is that they will always produce at the socially optimal level where sneaky supply, marginal cost, is equal to demand right here. So they actually produce what society wants. This should make some logical sense, right? Everybody gets what they want at the price they're willing to pay. So the firm is able to sell it to every person who wants one because they're able to charge them varying prices and get maximum profitability as a result. Okay, so that's it. Big takeaways when there's a price discriminating monopoly, there's no consumer surplus, no set price, profits are going to rise, marginal revenue and demand are going to be the same. All right, hope that was helpful.